following program is available in high definition on Channel 700. This program is designed and produced by the community with the support of TV Kojiko.
Hello and welcome to the next episode of Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. I'm Mayor Walter Sendzik for the City of St. Catharines. And boy, is it March out. So hopefully the spring flowers are only around the corner. We had a somewhat mild winter, looking forward to a beautiful spring. And today we're going to be talking about business in our community. And we're also going to be talking about a community organization, Merritton Lions Club, who have done some great work, who fundraise, who have really been a part of the fabric of our community for a number of years. We're going to have George Hostick coming in from the Lions, and he's going to be telling us about the efforts of the Merritton Lions Club and what they're working on, and that'll be coming in after the break. But now joining me, we have an entrepreneur in our community, a longtime entrepreneur who started his company when he was 15. Yes, when he was 15 years old, out of his parents' basement, and it was designing websites. 20 years later, Bill Janzen, president of Future Access, is one of the leading companies in Niagara, if not southwestern Ontario, when it comes to digital marketing. And the reason why I think it's important to talk with business people in our community, and for those viewers at home, is to get a sense of, one is the type of businesses that are successful, who the entrepreneurs are that are driving the prosperity of our community, and also the kind of leaders that are looking towards where the economy is going. So, you know, Bill, one of the aspects that's impressed me about your company has been the evolution. And a lot of people look at entrepreneurs and they see this success. They see you as Bill Janzen, and I think you're 40.
No, I'm not.
Not even 40
I'm
yet.
35.
All right, so you're
Don't
35.
put that on me yet.
Sorry, but I know you've won a 40 under 40 award.
Under 40, there you
Under
go.
40,
Yeah,
so you're still under 40, which is great. And they see you today as a successful business person, but a lot of people don't see the young entrepreneurs and what it takes to be
Right.
an
The
entrepreneur
early
today. The early
stuff.
years.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about how you started your company and how you've continued to evolve as a company.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me on the show today. And 20 years has gone by very quickly for us. It seems like it was only yesterday I was working out of my parents' basement. I started Future Access as sort of a part-time job on top of a part-time job, just because I was interested in computers and techie things. The internet was barely the internet. Right. This is all the way back in '95.
Was it started by Al Gore?
Well, I won't comment on that part, but certainly we kind of had this chance to explore what email was all about. That was kind of just coming into its forte, and websites were now moving past some of the original text-based things that you could do online. And I thought, hey, this is something that I can learn and try, and so I did. I was working at the Niagara-on-the-Lake Public Library at the time, really? Part-time in high school, and that was actually part of how my business got started. It wasn't that I quit everything else I was doing. I didn't quit school, so kids don't drop out of school, you know. I went to school full-time. I was working at the library, and they had a program through the Community Access Program, an HRDC program at the time, to bring internet access and training to rural Canadians. Niagara-on-the-Lake qualified, and they ran a community access program site there. And because I was involved with the library at the time, I coordinated that program. I was teaching adult students at night. Over about 18 months, I taught almost 500 adult students. So I'd go to school all day, I'd eat dinner, and then I'd go back out and I'd teach at night. And that was a huge kind of jump start, because I had started my business at that time, just a year or two before, and all of a sudden we had all of these adult students that maybe had businesses or were looking for extra computer help, and it was a great way to kind of kickstart a business at a time I didn't need it to be a full-time job. I was a kid.
Were you always involved in or interested in computers?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've always been wired up that way and interested in kind of figuring out how things work and doing little programming things as a kid, obviously video games, stuff like that. But my parents supported that all the way along for both my brother and I. He went on much further. He got his PhD in computer science and doing research and teaching at a university in computer science now. Right. I went the business route, and it's been fantastic. And computers have changed so much. Think about what's happened in the last 20 years.
So how has your company evolved, and how has it mirrored the evolution of technology?
Well, it's grown, of course, and obviously technology has grown, but we haven't stayed with what we did even 2 years ago. Especially online, things change so quickly, trends change so quickly. One of the big things that's changed over the last number of years, obviously the prevalence of mobile devices. So everybody's got a smartphone. In fact, the stats today say that nearly 60% of all internet searches are being done on a mobile device. So a tablet or a smartphone. We're still using our desktop computers, but that's not necessarily where we begin our searches. Okay. So with our clients, when we build a website for them, it has to be mobile friendly. If it's not, you got 3 seconds.
So what does that mean though, mobile
friendly? Sorry, that's a great question. It means that it has to adapt well to a smaller device. You don't want to be pinching in on your phone and scrolling back and forth from left to right. You want a website that immediately transforms itself automatically so that it's easy to read, easy to navigate on those smaller size screens. You're not squinting in to just try and read something. So we build websites that do exactly that. It's called the responsive web design technique, and we do that for everyone. So it's easy for our clients to update their websites, but then also to have them viewable on all sorts of different platforms.
So apps are a big thing.
Yeah, mobile apps, absolutely.
So what role does your company play in the world of apps?
So we build mobile apps for iOS, that's iPhones and iPads, for Android devices. But believe it or not, most people don't need a mobile app when they think they do.
Right.
They actually need a mobile-friendly website.
Right.
Because if the whole point of your mobile app is to sell things online from your retail store, nobody's going to download your app just to buy something from your store. But you can do all of that with a mobile website.
Right.
Now, there are other things that maybe take advantage of the GPS or the camera or something else on your smartphone, maybe that you want to come back to regularly. That's where that makes sense. And we're working with a few really interesting entrepreneurs that their whole business model is based around some of the apps that we're building for them.
So with the growth of future access into the digital world, digital marketing, talk to us about some of the trends that you're seeing in digital marketing and where people at home can expect to see the growth in the digital world.
Sure. I mean, obviously the online world has become incredibly crowded. Just like all of the other marketing in our lives, we're bombarded with advertising messages all the time. The whole concept of digital marketing is to go beyond your website, to bring in traffic from outside your website, to bring them into your website, and then of course to convert just traffic. Traffic is one thing, but to convert them into leads and then to qualify those prospects and to actually eventually convert them into paying customers.
Right. Now you talked about the crowded sort of digital world. For the viewer at home who has the Netflix or has pay-per-view, has Kojiko, and has 500 channel universe. How has the shift in digital media, how has it changed how business or yourself sees where the market is going?
Well, with all of that noise, ultimately everything online is still incredibly personal. If you really want to make a connection, business to consumer or business to business, it still comes down to personal relationships. And so the more that you can do to create those personal relationships in a digital world, and that goes beyond just online, that goes combining your offline, your in-person networking, things that we do, say, with the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. We are heavily involved with them because of all the networking opportunities and the chances to connect with others. And then that translates into online. We connect with people on Twitter, on Facebook. They check out our website. When somebody does contact us through our website, that's a personal connection. You have to get back to them right away. I had a client this morning that contacted us through our website. I called him back in 30 seconds, and he couldn't believe it. Somebody actually responded to one of those forms you fill out online that you think just go off into the abyss.
Right. So you use the word noise. So you talk about noise, and businesses have to focus on getting through the noise.
Right.
And how do you get through the noise without annoying a customer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, social media is a huge part of that. To create again, it's about relationships, especially the social part of social media really is personal relationships. When you can create those kind of connections between your business and your customers, that does cut through the noise because now you're relevant. You've got a brand that people recognize that they're going to listen to. So as they're scrolling through their media feeds, yours stands out because that's somebody that I know. That's somebody I want to know what they have to say. So that really helps. Being relevant to what your customers are looking for in terms of optimizing the content of your website for the things that they're searching for, running ads. Video is a huge part of that too.
Right.
We're increasingly a video culture. We want to see everything in pictures and movement and with music and sound. If you can create not huge, long 10-minute videos, these little kind of bite-sized pieces, a 30-second video or a 1-minute video, run a YouTube ad.
Right.
Those kind of things really help to draw people into your business and cut through the clutter.
And so, with your success, you've grown your company.
You've
celebrated your 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
You recently moved.
We did.
And you chose a location. For those who live in St. Catharines, you're on the corner of Welland and Niagara at the old
Scotiabank.
old Scotiabank.
In fact, people still think it's a Scotiabank. We get people every day
making deposits when they come in.
Cash deposits only. That's all we take these days.
So why that location?
Well, you know what? We were on a location not far. We used to be on Scott Street in North End St. Catharines, and we'd been there for a long time, renting kind of a lower level office suite, and that served us really well. But it was only about 1,200 square feet, and our staff was growing quickly. We were beyond 15 people, approaching 20. If you do the math, you're almost sitting on top of each other in that kind of a space. So we started looking around at different options, and this opportunity came up. It was only on the market for a few weeks, and we were able to take advantage to purchase that building. There were a few reasons for that location. We wanted something prominent. We wanted something that wasn't part of a plaza, but that was kind of an iconic location. And that location has tons of traffic. It's right on the edge of downtown St. Catharines. Lots of traffic both in and out as people are coming to and from work to the QEW. And we've had tremendous name recognition just for the location itself.
It's unique architecture. It's the curved. It's a rounded.
That's right. Yeah.
Rounded facade.
For those that know that intersection at Welland and Niagara, it's not a 90-degree
No.
perpendicular corner. It's much more oblique like that. And we don't have a 90-degree angle in that building. The whole front of the building is curved right around the corner.
That's very interesting.
But it's a really neat building. It's got a little bit of history. It was built in the early 60s and then expanded on later in that decade.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a great spot for us.
When you, one of the things that I think to convey to the public is, you're the type of business that we've attracted to our community. That we've not attracted it. You're the type of business that we've grown in our community.
Right.
And when we talk about being investment ready, when we talk about attracting and retaining business, for those watching at home, you're the type of business that we want to continue to encourage to expand in our community. From one 15-year-old to a 20-person operation today, that really is a success story. And
yeah, we've enjoyed the journey for sure.
And I just want to say on behalf of the City of St. Catharines, we're proud of what you've done. We're proud of the investment that you've made into your new building, and we know that with future access, you'll continue to grow as a significant company in our community, and we want to thank you for the investments and also for the partnerships that you bring. So we're looking forward to a new digital world, the expansion of the digital world, and with that, I want to thank you for coming on. And after the break, we're going to have George Hostick from the Merritton Lions Club coming in and talking about community giving back and how the Lions has played such an important role in our community over the years. So stay tuned.
Thanks very much.
Hello and welcome back to Our Home with Mayor Sendzik. And just before the break, we had Bill Janzen from Future Access talking about his business in our community. And after the break, now we have George Hostick from the Merritton Lions Club. And George has been a longtime member of the Merritton Lions Club. And we brought George on today to talk about the Merritton Lions Club in the community, their fundraising initiatives, and how much they've done to help build the community. And I think it's the juxtaposition between business and community organizations. You have business that creates the job opportunities, provides the careers for so many people in our community, and then the community organizations that allow for the give back, the volunteering, the building up of friendships and networks, and at the same time building communities. And I couldn't think of another organization in our community of St. Catharines that has really put its fingerprints on a community like the Merritton Lions Club. And George, born and raised in St. Catharines, they put in quotes here, Merritton.
That's right.
I think you were born in Merritton, then it became St. Catharines.
That's correct.
And he is retired from work in the municipal electric utility business. And as well, he has been a Lions member for how long?
Almost 50 years.
Almost 50 years.
I know I don't look 50 years old, but it's been almost 50 years.
You joined when you were about 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
You were a Lions cub.
A Leo, yeah.
A Leo. So your involvement in the Lions, how come? Why did you get started?
Oh, well, that's a very easy question to answer. I was involved, I got involved because I wanted to pay back.
Okay.
When I was a very young person, I was one of the first young people to make use of the Merritton Lions swimming pool, which is now the Dunk Schoolie pool.
Okay.
I learned to swim there with Bob Dunn, as did a number of other people in the community. Before that, we had been out to the canal at Loch 3 and done our swimming out there and rode our bikes, but the pool made it much easier.
And safer.
And much safer.
Yes.
So that was the reason for my involvement, amongst many other things that I felt like I needed to pay back to the community.
And what has being a Lion done for you professionally and personally?
Well, interestingly enough, I think that my career, and it has been a type of a career in Lionism, started back when I became president of the Merritton Lions Club and got involved in the administration of the Lions Club, if you will.
Okay.
And from there I went on to become a district governor. When I was elected governor, I had someone tell me that it would be a life-changing event, and it certainly has been.
Really?
I got to travel the world to Lions International conventions. I got to meet people on a different stage altogether, from the community stage to the international stage. I got to know what Lions Clubs International stood for at that level, and have thoroughly enjoyed my involvement in my ability and my fortune in being able to meet up with so many other great people along the way.
So for those who are watching, the district governor, that means you were overseeing in that year, not just the St. Catharines, but how big is the district?
The district of A2 is what we're called.
Okay.
And it's and there's a multiple district A, which is all of Ontario and parts of Quebec. In A2 here in Niagara, the district runs from Fort Erie to Tillsonburg.
Tillsonburg, okay.
And there are about 50 clubs.
And so as that, you were the district governor over...
That's right, there is a district cabinet.
Okay.
And there are officers besides the governor, there's a vice governor, and there's a number of different officers in the cabinet that do the administration, if you will, of the operating of the Lions clubs.
And so that was a significant undertaking.
It was.
Took a lot of time.
It took a lot of time, a lot of devotion, a lot of learning, and quite honestly, a lot of cost involved too when you think about going to international conventions and such.
Right, right. But it gave you, like you said, it gave you that lens into the organization at an international level.
It continues. I recently had the opportunity to serve as secretary to the organizing committee for the 2015 convention in Toronto, the International Convention.
And how many people? I could give what's the perspective? How many people come to those international conventions?
We had about 18,000 people registered.
18,000 people. Wow.
And they're from all over the world. And so the organizing committee was responsible, and I was secretary, and we were responsible for working together with Lions Clubs International to stage that convention.
Right, 18,000 people.
Yeah.
That's a significant number, and they're all volunteers who are obviously part of the Lions organization worldwide.
That's right.
And so bringing it back into our community, you touched on the Lion Dunk Schoolie Pool in Merritton. What are some of the other initiatives that specifically the Merritton Lions Club has gotten involved with?
Well, once again, on the payback basis, the Merritton Community Center was being finished as I was finishing high school.
Okay.
And we had what was known as the Merritton Teen Town organization. And they had a special room in the basement of the community center, which is still there and is now the Lion's Den, which they called the Teen Town Room.
Okay.
And I still remember members of the Lions Club inviting the youth of the community into the community center as it was being built and said, what do you think you need? And that was back in 1955, 56, somewhere in around there when those kind of things were going on.
Okay. And then you also have the Lions, the arena?
The Centennial Arena is a project of the Merritton Lions Club, built after a great deal of controversy amongst members, but the building committee prevailed and is still being operated by the Lions Club.
Yep.
And provides a great service to the community.
Now, those are bricks and mortar and important to building communities. What are some of the annual fundraising initiatives that you undertake in the community?
Well, we wouldn't be able to do any of this without the support of the community, obviously,
Right.
and the fundraising is key to our ability to continue to do what we're doing. One of our major fundraisers that everyone, I think, in the city is familiar with is our Labor Day weekend parade and carnival.
Yes. Now, it was changed up a bit this year. And
Yeah,
So-
not for the good either, but
so talk a bit about the changes.
well, the change last year in 15 was the fact that our carnival people let us down.
Okay.
And so we had to improvise and do some things that we wouldn't normally be doing with rides and attractions for people to be at the carnival.
Okay.
We still had the beer garden,
Yes.
and that was a good deal.
So did you have the jumpy castles, the...
Yeah, we had the bouncy things where the kids go and bounce around, and
Yep.
yeah, the
So that
inflatables.
was the change for this year?
Yeah, just for 15.
Okay.
In 2016, we fully expect, and in fact, we are under contract now with a carnival provider
Okay.
to go back to our regular carnival setup with
To bring the
friendly
carnival
rides.
setup back.
Yeah, so that's a major fundraiser. Another of our fundraisers is what we call our elimination draw and turkey roll,
Okay.
where we sell 1,800 tickets, and the last out of the drum was worth $2,500, I think.
Wow.
It is. So that's a big deal. We raised money specifically in some areas, one of them being the dog guide walk, which we will talk about. We have a walk for dog guides. We have the bowl-a-thon.
So talk about the dog guides, because that's something that is specific in terms of one of your fundraisers.
Yes.
How did the Lions get involved in that fundraising?
Well, that's an interesting story in itself as well. I had the fortune, and when I was governor of 82, 83, of being around when what is known as the Lions Foundation of Canada was founded
Okay.
for the purpose of providing seeing eye dogs for blind people, which is a common use of dogs that people are familiar with. And so in 1982, 83, the Lions Clubs of Canada purchased a property in Oakville and converted it into a dog training facility, so that we now have 7 different disciplines of dogs being trained at that facility, including the seeing eye dogs. And we have dog guides for the deaf, we have dog guides for the impaired, mobility impaired.
Okay.
We have diabetes awareness dog guides and dogs that can actually sense when a person's diabetic condition is such that they need assistance.
Wow.
Oh, there are 7 different programs of dog guides that are in that facility in Oakville, and I had the privilege of serving as chairman of the board of that facility back
Okay,
in
so
that
that's
time
the connection there. Okay.
So I'm very familiar with it, and I served on the board twice, and it's been a real treasure to watch that facility grow. It's now national, and having been part of the start, and to see it still flourish as well as it does, and the number of people it employs, and the number of people who are benefiting from those dogs is just absolutely amazing.
And you have, as you have a bowl-a-thon,
Yes.
that where the funds raised go to the program.
That's right. Lion Bill Sowery and his wife Linda, Lion Linda, are members who started that. We can talk about that, the dog bowl. We used to call it a bowl-a-thon, and then the Lions Foundation people said, well, it's a dog bowl. Okay, good little name, dog bowl. So we do that. And what that involves is we have bowling alleys in the Merritton Community Center downstairs, which
Yes.
a lot of people don't know about.
No,
but,
you're right. You're right.
Those are the bowling alleys that we use.
Yeah. And when can you go and play? Like if someone
You
wanted
can
to
call
go.
and make arrangements to
Okay.
rent that out for a birthday party or something
Okay.
like that. You
Great
can call
idea.
the Merritton Community Center.
Yep.
At the dog bowl, it's really an interesting facility, interesting happening. The people that come and support, pledge money, raise money through pledges, provide gifts and prizes, and they bowl with blindfolds on.
Right.
So it's a
Yeah,
simulated
yep.
blindness.
Yep. And it's not easy. I did
No.
it last year. It's not easy.
Yeah, I know you did, and
Yeah.
we're very grateful for you being there. And people, we have to be very careful with it too, of course. But
Yep.
people, you only put the blindfold on when you're going to stand up to bowl. And
And they're 5-pin, right?
Yeah, good old 5-pin.
They're old 5-pin, so you don't have to have the big ball.
We have gotten past the pin setters deal, though. We do have machines now that
Yes,
set
you
the
do.
pins for us. So
Yes, you do.
that helps a lot. And we've raised, this year, we're very, very proud that we've raised over $6,000, which is on that bowl, at the dog bowl. And that's the accepted sponsorship of a dog guide.
Oh, wow.
So we
okay.
get to name the dog and get to be part of that facility by having raised over $6,000. So.
And so when you, just to sort of wrap this up, you look at and understand the impact of the Lions Club in a community, both at the local level and at the national level, creating a program like that has an impact on so many people who access the dog guide program. In terms of getting involved and talking to the next generation of those who are looking to make a difference, talk about how they can get involved in your organization.
Well, that's a really interesting thing to have to talk about today, because just last night we had our regular Lions meeting and we inducted 9 new members into the Merritton Lions Club.
Wow.
That's great. In my history with the club and with Lionism, I've never seen 9 new members come into a club at one time.
Congratulations.
And I commented to them as they were standing before me to be inducted that I'm sure they have lowered the average age of the Merritton Lions Club by at least 25%, because they are a majority of very young people. But also, I spoke with a few of them directly, and I said, okay, are you ready to work? And one fellow said, well, I have to go to work tomorrow. I said, no, I mean, are you ready to get involved in the community? And,
yes.
And they seem quite eager. So now the challenge is for us to come up with projects and ideas for them to capture their attention and to get them involved in the community.
Well, that's wonderful, and it's good to see the next generation getting involved.
It really, really is, and there's a real need. And I would encourage anyone who has any interest at all in becoming a volunteer with the Lions to contact us at the community center. We would love to have you come to our meetings, which are the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month at the community center.
All right. So with that, George, I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for the work that you're doing in our community and that your fellow Lions are doing in the community. It's really important, and you can see the impact that you're having. As well, I also want to thank Bill Janzen for joining us earlier from Future Access. It's been a very informative show. We've talked about business, we've talked about community. Put those two together and you get a great place like St. Catharines. So thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you have a wonderful rest of March. It's slated to be, I'm not a weatherman, I don't purport to play one, but I think we're going to have a great spring. So keep in touch and continue to take the photos on your mobile phones and your tablets. Hashtag #OurHomeSTC and share what you see in our community, the beauty that surrounds us, your friends and family, and let's continue to grow this amazing place called St. Catharines. Thank you very much.
Just a little conversation.